Tonight on Ctv3 News, trade resumes between Belize and Mexico at the Santa Elena border after 6 days closure, but there are still concerns over possible cartel involvement and ongoing custom crisis. Recent hike in diesel prices causes chain reaction across the various sectors. Will commuters see an increase in bus fares? We'll tell you. And here in the north, firefighters are investigating an inferno in Corozal. In Belmopan, Day 3 of the 2026 budget debate takes place. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Wednesday, March 25th, 2026.
ExpressNet now has up to 400 megabytes of high-speed internet. Choose the speed that fits you. From faster browsing to faster gaming. Connect more devices at once. Or bundle it with Express Plus and HBO Max. Internet and streaming entertainment, all in one.
Yeah, faster starts here.
Sign up today at any Centaur office or contact us to get started.
When speed matters, every second counts. Get ahead with ExpressNet. Fast, reliable, ready when you are.
Good evening, with your news also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Tonight, the Mexican section of the Santa Elena border has been reopened to facilitate the transfer of cargo shipments following a 6-day closure that sparked concern among Belizean merchants who import vegetables, fruits, and various other products. While the resumption of cargo into Belize is good news, importers are being warned that this is just a short-term fix, as the fundamental problems remain unaddressed, including the involvement of the cartel, who allegedly subject drivers attempting to cross from Quintana Roo into Belize to pay illegal tariffs or run the risk of being denied passage. So, is the cartel involved in this latest crisis at the Santa Elena border? According to Oscar Arnold, ambassador of Belize to Mexico, that information is hard to come by.
It's tough to get official information from individuals. In this instance, for example, the one that started last week, when we checked with the authorities, when we checked with the police, because we had heard that there were threats made against custom brokers, threats against truckers, drivers. But when we checked with the police there in Chetumal, they're saying that they didn't have any official reports or anything of that sort. If they did that, there would be an investigation that would have ensued. But so it was hard to try to connect the dots and connect the pieces. All we could do is to try to keep up a level of diplomatic pressure from my office with the individuals who are in charge of security, who are in charge of customs, and who are in charge of maintaining daily communications. And so what we did was we were working with the federal authorities. We were also working with state authorities, like I said, special advisors through the office of the governor. How much that impacted the decision that was made today to resume activities, that is anybody's guess. But what I can report on is that since last Tuesday and Wednesday, when we found out about it, we were working all the channels that we have available to us.
According to Arnold, brokers could also be a part of the issue.
When I spoke to the individual in charge, the general in charge of the Guardia Nacional at the border that also oversees some custom duties. He said, Ambassador, we're open for business. We are conducting business as per usual. There is an issue with the brokers where the brokers refuse to process entries or to process pedimento. And I said, but so what was the rationale or the reason behind that? And he said, your guess is as good as mine. My people are on the ground. We are ready. We are waiting. Speaking to a couple individuals who I know who provide that type of service on the Mexican side of the border, one of them said, no, he says, I have no problems if they come to me, but it seems that there are certain brokers who handle certain type of businesses on the Mexican side, and getting one of them to speak to me was a little bit difficult. There is a practice, Jules, in Mexico. Whenever a group of individuals, whenever a individual would want to get some level of credibility, some of them have lost their lives because of it, of misrepresenting who they represent. And so when someone says, okay, well, the cartel is doing it, but they can't give you who or what or where or when, it begins to beg the question whether they're just using the cartel acronym or the cartel name to try to evoke some level of desperation on other people's part. And so I will say that, I'm not saying that in this instance that didn't take place, but that is a realm that I don't operate in, and I would be doing an injustice to our listeners and to your viewers to speculate on something like that.
And while there are talks of threats and intimidation directed at custom brokers, Arnold advises these individuals need to make an official report for it to be looked into.
We are here in Mexico City. We do have an honorary consul who I rely on heavily in Chatomal, who is on the ground. But like I said, the difficulty that we came up against was that there was no official reports of individuals saying there is a threat against me, and I'm going to make a report, or I'm going to have the police make a file on it. And so the police are saying, well, Ambassador, we don't have any reports of those, and we would look into it if we have it. Customs is saying on the Mexican side, we're ready to work. We have our people here. We are actually losing money as well, because if cargo doesn't transit, then we can't make the charges and have people pay the quotas and the fees that they are supposed to pay. I'm sure it's the same thing on our side of the border, where our customs, if there's not cargo coming in, then there's no cargo fees that can be gained for the government of Belize.
Last night, motorists and businesses throughout Belize saw a significant spike in diesel prices, with the pump rate jumping by $2.50 per gallon at midnight, an increase of approximately 20%. This development follows a recent surge in premium and regular fuel prices on March 13, 2026, intensifying financial strain on consumers already grappling with rising living costs. The primary catalyst for this sharp escalation is the escalating global oil market, fueled by the ongoing conflict in Iran, which continues to disrupt international energy supplies and market stability. This latest price adjustment is likely to trigger a chain reaction across various sectors, including transportation, retail, and manufacturing, as higher fuel expenses translate into increased operational costs. In the area of transportation, the Minister of Transport, Louis Zabani, says commuters who travel with the National Bus Company should not experience a hike in fare.
No, we're not anticipating increasing fares with the National Bus Company. What we're working very hard on is to benefit from economies of scale, which is one of the main factors that drove us and motivated us to create the National Bus Company, where we are now able to buy in bulk. And when you buy in bulk, well, you get bulk discounts, whether it's for fuel or tires or other input. So that is not on the table. As you know, we're transitioning to electric buses, which we hope to complete by the end of next year, 2027. And starting this September, we're hoping to start to have the first delivery of the buses. Electric buses have operating costs that are only 25% that of a diesel bus. So if you have a diesel bus for a period of time costing $1,000, in this case, an electric bus will only be $250. So it's a significant reduction. And we're using, in fact, technology to help us to become more productive. That is our strategy.
But what about bus operators who are not affiliated with the National Bus Company? Are they permitted to raise their fares?
In their case, they would need to, that would be at the Ministry of Finance, who deal with issues related to taxes and so forth. They said with significant confidence that they would be able to operate independently. At no point did we in any way coerce a decision. It was a free will for all the bus operators. As you know, 17 of them, which are the larger operators, are now constitute the ownership from the operator's side of the National Bus Company. They comprise collectively 65% of the market because they're the larger bus operators. We say that the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And if they on their own made that analysis and they decided that it was better to be in a larger group where in unity there is strength, we say, they made that decision and then the others decided not to be a part of it. Well, then it's because those who are not a part of it may have made a calculation that they could deal with things like when prices of fuel go up. So we, with enough respect, what we do anticipate though is that they will continue to improve the quality of their service. That is imperative for us with respect to ensuring that we enforce the requirements under their road service permits. They will be expected to continue to improve. And once they do that, then the commuters benefit, and that's what we're concerned about.
Authorities are currently probing the circumstances surrounding a fire that broke out in Corozal. The incident was reported in the early hours of Wednesday, March 25, 2026, around 3 a.m., prompting a police response to Chico's Tortilla factory situated on 7th Avenue in Corozal town. Upon arrival at the scene, officers found a 20-foot by 60-foot structure used primarily for tortilla frying, fully consumed by flames. Preliminary inquiries indicate that around 2:55 a.m., witnesses noticed smoke emanating from the building, leading to the emergency call. Firefighters from the local fire department responded swiftly, successfully bringing the blaze under control. At this stage, the extent of the damage remains undetermined, and investigators are continuing their effort to establish the cause of the fire. Several Latin American and Caribbean nations, including Jamaica, are ending or reviewing medical cooperation agreements with Cuba due to increasing U.S. pressure, which frames these programs as forced labor. The U.S. has targeted these missions with sanctions, causing countries to send health professionals home to avoid potential repercussions. In the case of Belize, the government is reporting delicate negotiations and significant pressure from the United States to end the presence of Cuban medical workers, leading to uncertainty about the future of the partnership.
The foreign minister, I think, went at length to give you an explanation, and it remains the same. And I think Minister of Health said the same. I mean, it's, as I said, delicate negotiations, and we're in contact with the Cuban government and the Cuban brigade. And I know when we meet with the Americans, they also bring to our attention, their concerns about it. So I'm hoping that we can work out something more sooner than later.
In related news, Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum reaffirmed her country's commitment to maintaining its partnership with Cuban medical professionals, even as several other nations across the Americas similar arrangements under the influence of U.S. policies. During her morning press conference, Sheinbaum characterized the bilateral agreement as highly beneficial for Mexico, emphasizing the vital role played by Cuban health teams. She highlighted their significant contributions during the COVID-19 crisis and their presence in undeserved communities lacking adequate healthcare services. The United States has publicly criticized Cuba's practice of dispatching medical personnel abroad, labeling it as forced labor and human trafficking. Under the Trump administration, Washington intensified efforts to isolate Havana, including halting oil imports and applying diplomatic pressure on countries to withdraw Cuban medical missions. Countries such as Honduras, Jamaica, Guyana, and Costa Rica have already recalled their Cuban doctors. In contrast, Sheinbaum defended Mexico's stance, noting that the continued cooperation not only addresses urgent health care needs, but also fosters stronger diplomatic ties with Cuba, a nation Mexico has historically supported. She pointed out the challenges Mexico faces in recruiting doctors and specialists for rural regions where healthcare access remains limited, and expressed appreciation for Cuba's willingness to operate in such areas. Coming up next, Belize's sugar industry poised for a strong rebound in 2026 after challenging years. Stay tuned.
The Orange Walk Town Council is inviting applications from suitably qualified and motivated individuals to fill 5 garbage fee collector positions within our revenue department. Minimum requirements: high school diploma, friendly and people-oriented personality, tech-savvy, must own reliable transportation, preferably a motorcycle, honest and dependable. Interested applicants are asked to submit the following documents: application letter, copy of high school diploma, valid social security card, 2 character references. Applications must be submitted in person to the Orange Walk Town Council office by February 20th, 2026. Join our team and contribute to keeping Orange Walk clean and organized.
From whiskeys and wines to elegantly crafted cocktails, paired with charcuterie boards and perfectly seasoned steak bites, and much more. Perfect for celebrations, quiet nights, and every special occasion in between. 7 Notes Wine and Spirits, where every sip hits the right note.
The Civil Registry Department and Vital Statistics Unit provides comprehensive information services to assist citizens in obtaining official documentation related to key life events. You can apply for birth, death, marriage, adoption, or deed poll certificates for records that have already been registered. You can also request tailored information extracts or certified copies of documents about specific life events. All Vital Statistics information services are available through the new Civil Registry and Vital Statistics System, CRVS. You can complete all services online from the comfort of your own home, or if you prefer face-to-face interaction or need additional support, you can visit their nearest office to complete any service. The new CRVS, digitally connecting citizens to all vital statistics services. Visit crvs.gov.bz today to access our services.
There's a saying I often return to, and that is a Chinese saying that says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Today, Belize chooses now because Belize has always lived under the shade of the tree. Remember Sobumbra floreo. Our forests, mangroves, rivers, and farms are not just features of our landscape, they are part of who we are as a people. They protect us from storms, feed our families, support livelihoods, and anchor our resilience in a changing climate. But we also know this truth. What we do not protect, we will eventually lose.
Greening Belize, 1 million trees for climate and sustainable development. Our forest cover is declining, especially after the fire season. What will be achieved? Restore and reforested lands, significant increase in hectares restored by 2035. Enhanced carbon sequestration. We'll have improved data, mapping, and reporting systems with this. Institutional readiness, feasibility study and design for a national forestry incentive program, community mobilization, which will build capacity and increase participation nationally, and improve governance.
For all environmentally conscious individuals and groups, CBOs, NGOs, community organizations, universities, come in to do their part to plant trees to assist in the restoration initiative for the country of Belize.
When speed matters, every second counts. Get ahead with ExpressNet. Fast, reliable, ready when you are.
Primera llegada con peligro por parte de Bot. Vemos la repetición. Llegan los linderos del área. La número 7 llegó con todo Bot. Estamos en vivo, en directo a través del canal 53 de Centaur. Izquierda viene cámara. El número 7 saca el disparo largo. El disparo de cámara.
Nosotros somos los campeones, estamos listos para National.
The final day of the 2026-2027 budget debate got underway this morning with contributions from key government ministers outlining priorities and achievements across their respective portfolios. Among them was Minister of Home Affairs Oscar Mira, who highlighted progress made within the ministry over the past year while settling the tone for the upcoming fiscal period. Minister Mira pointed to continued efforts to strengthen national security, announcing that an additional 300 police officers will be recruited in the next intake later this year. He explained that the expansion is aimed at boosting the capacity of the Belize Police Department and enhancing public safety across the country. He noted that the increase in personnel will be supported by the integration of modern technology, including surveillance cameras and drones, which are expected to improve monitoring capabilities and assist officers in responding more effectively to crime. According to Mira, these measures form part of a broader strategy to make communities safer and more secure.
In this new budget, we'll have a new recruit intake of approximately 200 new police officers that will increase the strength of the police department and assist in maintaining the manpower requirement of the department's 3,000 police officers. And to complement the human resources of the police department, we have, through the Belize Integral Security Program, many projects that are ongoing, that are going to start very, very, very soon. And we have projects at the construction of the new police station in Bella Vista, construction of the new police station in San Narciso, construction of the new police station in Kikaka. And we have invested in a camera network, a 911 response system for the police department. But we're not done yet, you know. In the very near future, and some of these projects are now at the stage where it is going to go out for tender. The construction and equipment of a 911 facility and now a police station will soon be started at the Chetomal Boulevard in Belize City. And my colleague Van Lekai will be glad to know
Minister Mira also spoke on infrastructural advancements planning for the coming year, including upgrades and improvements to several police stations nationwide, among them facilities in Orange Walk. He emphasized that these developments are intended to provide better working conditions for officers while improving service delivery to the public.
I want to emphasize that the Belize Police Department is going through a phase of reform, of refocus, and of rebuilding, with a dedicated pledge to address past misconducts and inefficiencies, and helping to realign policing with the core principles of professionalism, community trust, while in turn institutionally strengthening the department through greater accountability, modernizing its capabilities, and ethical leadership. We also want to make sure that we integrate technology and advanced data-driven policing by streamlining intelligence operations. So we have merged the Joint Intelligence Coordinating Center, COMSTAT, and Interpol into a single crime fusion center. And this center consolidates crime data and intelligence from various sources into one unified platform. And its purpose is to leverage real-time analysis, AI, and cross-agency data sharing to detect crime patterns and forecast hotspots.
Minister of Home Affairs and New Growth Industries Oscar Mira today sought to reassure the public that operations at the Corozal Free Zone remain fully functional despite recent concerns surrounding alleged cartel activity along the Belize-Mexico border. Mira's statement comes in response to remarks made by opposition leader Tracy Panton, who warned during the ongoing budget debate that criminal groups were influencing container movement and posing threats to importers in the northern region. According to the minister, the free zone has confirmed that its operations were never significantly impacted. He explained that the issue stemmed from a temporary disruption involving Mexican aduana authorities and custom brokers, which has since been resolved without affecting the overall flow of goods or business activities within the zone. Minister Mira emphasized the economic importance of the free zone, noting that it directly employs more than 1,500 Belizeans and supports an additional 1,500 families indirectly. He described the facility as a critical economic driver for northern Belize and a meaningful contributor to the country's GDP.
Without any kind of basis, wanting to bring panic.
Member from Albert.
When you don't even know where pardon containers come from, then you talk. I know I said the word. All right? You talk about containers or you talk about fuel? Because when you don't know, let me tell you, the Corozal Free Zone has had more than 1.1 million visitors over the last year. And you know why? Because people feel safe to do business in the Corozal Free Zone. No containers, no, they come from Mexico.
Member from Albert.
Let me shut it down. that we open it, this government opened the Corozal Free Zone, which employs more than 1,500 persons from the Corozal and Ridgewater district. Families directly benefiting, not just employees, you know. I talk about security of Coral Free Zone and man. Sir Speaker, we do face many challenges as a society, and especially the negative impacts of gang and gun violence. We're not immune, and we understand. Let me say this here. To those that resort to gun violence, and in the so-called gangs, because they are real gangs when you analyze them, stop. Stop the shooting and stop the killing.
Management of the zone today also issued a statement reiterating that its operations are focused on economic development and public service, stressing that it remains apolitical and committed to maintaining stability and confidence among investors and stakeholders. Speaking on behalf of the opposition during today's sitting of the budget debate, UDP Queen Square Area Representative Godwin Haylock offered measure support for aspects of the government's healthcare agenda, commending PM Bresenia for proposed improvements to clinics and polyclinics across the country. During his presentation, Haylock described the planned upgrades to polyclinics along with the recruitment of additional healthcare workers and efforts to ensure proper staffing as forward-thinking initiatives that are long overdue for Belize's healthcare system. He noted that strengthening primary healthcare is essential and will significantly improve access to medical services for communities nationwide. Turning his attention to the tourist sector, Haylock also raised concerns about recent developments within the industry, which he described as one of the main pillars of Belize's growing economy. He cautioned that any instability or decline in the sector could have far-reaching effects on employment and national revenue.
With destinations like Mexico and Dominican Republic offering more affordable packages, Belize risks losing competitiveness. The recent announcement of JetBlue discontinuing flights to Belize is only a warning sign. Fewer flights mean fewer overnight visitors, and overnight tourism is the backbone of the tourism industry. Seriously, is any marketing strategy in place this year to aid in attracting tourists to our shoreline via the airlines? JetBlue, as you all should know, announced that it will stop flying to Belize this summer. If overnight visitors decline, Belizeans will feel the effect immediately. Look at it this way. Behind every empty hotel room or Airbnb room, there will be Belizeans struggling to pay their bills. Our tourism product is not founded on quick cruise stops. It's founded on overnight stays. But, Mr. Speaker, serious concern remains. There is no clear, visible national strategy to address high airfare costs in Belize, limited global market reach, and the overall cost of the Belizean tourism experience. We on this side recommend a targeted airlift marketing strategy to attract and retain airlines, increase investment in data-driven global marketing, incentives to reduce destination costs, and greater transparency in tourism spending, including full reporting on the 2022 Blue Bond and tourism revenues. Tourism needs direction, not just recovery. Let me phrase it correctly. Tourism fuels our economy, while sports and youth development protects our future generation.
Belize's sugar industry is poised for a rebound in 2026 following a challenging period marked by disease and declining global prices, according to Minister of Agriculture Rodolphe Ferguson. The minister made the remarks during his presentation in today's budget debate, pointing to renewed optimism within one of the country's most critical economic sectors. Ferguson acknowledged that export revenue fell sharply over the past year as the industry grappled with setbacks, including the impact of crop season and unfavorable market conditions. The minister noted that collaborative efforts between farmers, industry leaders, and government have led to improved crop management, stronger disease control measures, and better coordination across the production chain.
Export revenues from sugar fell by 68.6 million from 182.25 million in 2024 to 113.65 million in 2025. Thanks to the creativity and teamwork, however, of the Ministries of Finance, Economic Transformation, and Agriculture, as well as BSI and the Sugarcane Farmers Associations. We tackled the fusarium problem quickly, and together we implemented an innovative program using fungicides, biologicals, and root stimulants to produce a healthier soil climate and stronger plants. So effective was the program, supported by improved weather in northern Belize. Mr. Speaker, 2026 will see a significant rebound, both in terms of sugarcane deliveries to the factory and the quality of cane produce, which when taken together will improve factory efficiency. This kind of effort to support the development of Belize agriculture and our processing sector and address major disease problems in the agricultural sector, Mr. Speaker, occurs only under the PUP. It is no secret that those on the other side are not concerned. They do not care, and some may even say that they appear to be lost when it comes to agricultural development.
Minister Ferguson also highlighted ongoing progress within the industry, including plans for the establishment of a sugar refinery in Belmopan during this fiscal year.
Thanks to the able leadership of this PUP government, thanks for the renewed investment confidence that has prevailed since 2020, Santander Sugar in the West decided to partner with the US-based Suco Limited and is ushering in a new era of growth and market consolidation for Belize sugar industry. Together, they are investing US $20 million to construct the Caribbean sugar refinery just a few miles away from the Honorable House. The refinery, which will be operational later this year, will be the most major sugar refinery in the Caribbean region, and by targeting 75% of demands for refined sugar. This new refinery will reduce the region's extra regional imports. Madam Speaker, it is projected that this year alone, 40,000 metric tons of sugar will be refined this state-of-the-art refinery. Clearly, there are major development for Belize and the Caribbean region, and this is a bold step forward for Belize and the future of our industry.
According to Ferguson, the development is expected to strengthen the industry's resilience, create new economic opportunities, and enhance Belize's competitiveness in the global sugar market. Belize's cattle industry continues to solidify its role as a key export sector with rising revenues and increased production, according to Minister of Agriculture Rodwell Ferguson. Ferguson highlighted that, in addition to formal exports, informal trade has played a significant role in boosting earnings within the sector. He reported that approximately 33,910 heads of cattle were exported informally to neighboring countries generating an estimated $60.7 million in revenues. The figures, he noted, underscore the growing demand for Belizean cattle and the industry's expanding contribution to the national economy.
In 2025, Belize formally exported 7,748 heads of cattle to Mexico due to both an increase in head exported and an increase in price. Formal cattle exports in Mexico increased in value from 12 million in 2024 to 16.3 million in 2025. In addition, 33,910 heads were exported in farming to our neighbors, only an additional 60.7 million in revenues. Total revenues include formal and informal trade from cattle exports now stand at 77 million and is projected to approach 90 million in 2026. Madam Speaker, the foundations for the development of Belize's cattle industry were laid by past PUP governments, by ministers, PUP ministers, I must say, who thought out of the box, and in so doing, they paved the way for Belize to access the Guatemalan market. Thanks to their efforts, and I pass to specifically highlight the contribution of former Minister Daniel Silva, who first opened the informal market for cattle export to Guatemala, and Jose Abelardo May, who is famously remembered for announcing "Let the cattle go." These PUP ministers pioneered and supported the importation of new and improved breeds of cattle. And through their efforts, farmers are getting better, higher prices for their livestock. Under my leadership, the drive is to grow Belize's cattle industry will continue, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security and the Growth Industries is putting all decks on hand to expand the formal and informal export of cattle. Mr. Speaker, it is projected that in 2026, Belize will export 10,000 heads of cattle for the first time to Mexico, valued at over $20 million.
Ongoing challenges, particularly in animal health. He commended Belize's response to screwworm, describing it as extraordinary.
An additional 37,000 heads is projected to be exported to Guatemala for an additional 65 million in revenues. This government is so serious about cattle, Mr. Speaker, that we did not allow the screwworm to devastate our industry. Led by the Belize Agricultural Health Authority, BAHA, and with support from USDA, ORISA, AICA, and BLPA, we moved quickly to put control measures in place to both delay the entry of the screwworm to Belize and to reduce how fast this pest spread once it arrived. Long before the screwworm arrived, we stepped up our training efforts so that farmers know how to treat and report cases. While the screwworm took only 5 months to spread from Costa Rica to surround Mexico, Mr. Speaker, it took 7 months to spread from Toledo to Corozal. Some call it luck because Belize is the only country that does not import cattle for slaughter. But the USDA APHIS from Trumpland has applauded Belize's screwworm efforts. Mexico was so respectful of our protocols that despite screwworm arriving and now endemic in Belize, they never stopped importing cattle from Belize. The facts speak for themselves, Madam Speaker, and farmers across the country today are quite capable of managing screwworm in their herds, including treating the navel of newly born calves, the ears of recently tagged animals, and any wounds found in their cattle.
As we air tonight's newscast, Prime Minister John Briceño is closing the debate with his presentation. In mid-March 2026, wholesale chicken prices in Belize experienced a notable rise, increasing by 6 cents per pound, equivalent to an additional $3 per 50-pound crate. The surge is primarily attributed to escalating production expenses faced by local farmers. This price adjustment is set to affect the wholesale cost of both whole chickens and the processed poultry parts. Consequently, consumers can anticipate an immediate impact on meal prices at food vendors and restaurants across the country, as these higher wholesale costs are likely to be passed along to customers. When it comes to consumers purchasing chicken at the various poultry stores, the price per pound of chicken can vary since the product is not price controlled. This could lead to price gouging, which Prime Minister John Briceño says will be monitored.
Well, I think we found out that that in many instances price control does not work, and so they find different ways on how it can work. So it will be difficult, but it's difficult. But if we feel that it's getting out of control and we need to step in, then we will do so.
Opposition presented her response to the 2026-2027 national budget in the House of Representatives. In a candid critique, Prime Minister John Briceño addressed her presentation, describing it as lacking in depth and failing to resonate with its intended audience. Briceño expressed that her lengthy speech fell short in delivering meaningful content and failed to make a significant impression even among members of her own party.
She's doing as best as she can as the leader of the opposition to try to come up with some kind of rebuttal. But even people from within her own party have not been satisfied, and they've been savage to her with her presentation. So I will leave it to them, and I think I will leave it as that.
And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
From whiskeys and wines to elegantly crafted cocktails. Paired with charcuterie boards and perfectly seasoned steak bites, and much more. Perfect for celebrations, quiet nights, and every special occasion in between. 7 Notes Wine and Spirits, where every sip hits the right note.
When speed matters, every second counts. Get ahead with ExpressNet. Fast, reliable, ready when you are.
They got so much things to say right now. They got so much things to say.
The way some people are talking you'd never know, but the most blatant nepotism and fleecing of BTL took place under UDP when Dean Barrow was Prime Minister. Barrow placed his son Anwar on BTL's board in 2009 as soon as he nationalized the company, which would eventually cost Belizeans almost $650 million for shares barely worth $200 million. By 2014, Anwar was appointed executive chairman with extravagant salary and perks. Under him, BTL spent wildly on ventures that did not materialize and never brought any returns. Under the Barrows, BTL's profits plummeted from $38 million in 2009 to $17 million in 2019, and $10 million in 2020, as the company hardly paid dividends to government and people of Belize. Anwar Barrow has no moral authority to talk about BTL, as it was under his nepotistic rule, appointed by his father, that BTL was most blatantly fleeced.
They got so much things to say right now. They got got so much things to say.
Finally, a postpaid plan for 3 people. Introducing Smart Trio. Why pay for mobile service alone when you can share and save? Get unlimited national calls, texts, plus 100 gigabytes of shared data. And the best part? It's only $135. That's right, as low as $45 per person. Perfect for small families, couples, or close friends. Smart Trio. 3 lines, 1 smart choice. Sign up now and you could win a Trio getaway to San Pedro for 3. Visit us at www.smart-bz.com for more information or sign up at any showroom today. Smart, bringing people together.
This building that we have gotten, the Welcome Center, is not just walls and it's not just here to beautify the Punta Gorda town and as an extension the Toledo district and Belize, but it's also here to play a main purpose and a role, and that is to continue to promote our tourism sector in Belize. This provides us a platform and a venue for us to be able to do multiple things in working towards enhancing the tourism environment in Toledo and really showcasing it not only to locals but also to our international guests, which are paramount for us to continue to grow this industry.
This project, like others that we're working on throughout the country, was designed and is being delivered by Belizeans. We have spoken to the communities, we've spoken to tourism stakeholders and what needs to be done to ensure that we have the necessary infrastructure to improve the quality of the visitor experience.
The Belizean government is exploring measures to regulate the rental sector amid escalating housing costs across the country. As rental prices continue to soar, many low-income families are finding it increasingly difficult to afford basic accommodation. For numerous families living on limited incomes, a single-room rental can take up a substantial portion of their monthly earnings, often leaving little remaining for essentials such as food, utilities, and other necessities. Prime Minister John Briceño addressed concerns about the situation, highlighting issues with unscrupulous landlords.
House rentals, it is something that we've been looking at, how we can do it, or at least for low-cost house rentals, and we brought that in, a few times where some unscrupulous owners of these, especially the small, the one room where they rent that they would cut off the water, cut off the lights, and that kind of thing. So we need to find a way how we can find a balance, because at the same time, these people need to collect their rent. They've made an investment and it's expected. So, and if you make it too easy for some people, they don't want to pay rent. So it's a fine line that we have to walk.
The Belize Intellectual Property Office, BELIPO, in collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade and Beltrade, officially launched the second phase of the CARI Forum Intellectual Property Rights and Innovation Project, CAR IPI 2. The event was held in Belize City and marked a significant milestone in regional efforts to enhance intellectual property IP systems across the Caribbean. The launch ceremony featured remarks from Honorable Anthony Sylvester, Attorney General, and Her Excellency Amalia Mai, CEO in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. In Belize, CAR IPI 2 has already contributed to notable progress, including the country's accession of the Madrid Protocol and the digital transformation of BELIPO. The project also emphasized the development of GIs for locally produced goods such as cacao and other origin-linked products, with ongoing efforts to introduce dedication legislation to protect these valuable destinations. Over the course of 3 days, regional and international stakeholders engaged in high-level discussions on strengthening IP systems, treaty participation, and sustainable development. Belipo reaffirmed its commitment to fostering innovation and economic growth through enhanced IP capacity and international collaboration. The second phase of CAR IPI presents a strategic step forward in positioning Belize as a leader in intellectual property and sustainable development within the Caribbean region. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, March 26th here on Ctv3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. From all of us here at Ctv3, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.